Say it again.
You can learn the other, if you know enough to get in.
That's a good answer. Any other?
Would actually have the chance to get a job.
Right. Out of all the applicants, they may not get anyone who has 100% of what they're asking for. And you may just have the most of what they're asking for. You know what I mean? A lot of times jobs will make exceptions for things. I've applied to jobs that have said, must have 5 years of experience in counseling. And I'm fresh out of college. Obviously, I don't have 5 years of experience, but I may have 2 years of experience. I may have 3 years of experience. And in that 3 years, I may have developed enough knowledge to be able to efficiently do this job, even though I don't have 5 years. All right? Now, I would be careful. Go ahead, Chris.
So, just for cases like that, to where we have like a minimum criteria to where we have to meet, let's just say 5 years of counseling, would you still say, okay, let's just say I don't have any years of counseling, but I know I can sufficiently like do the job. Can I still apply for it? Do you think that's even like worth doing?
I would say still apply for it because even in that case, say the requirements are you must have a bachelor's degree and then 5 years of experience. Like you have half of that. You'll have the bachelor's degree. You may not have the experience, but you have the educational requirements. So that's still half of what they're asking for. So I would still apply for it because you never know what could happen. You're not going to lose anything by applying to the job, basically.
That's true.
You know what I mean? You have nothing to lose, so I would go for it. I would be careful with this last one. Mention the person who referred you. I probably wouldn't even do that. I probably wouldn't even put this on the PowerPoint, actually. Now, the reason is you really don't know how that person, say you're trying to use someone who works at the job that you're applying to. You may think, all right, this person's a great person. They're a hard worker. They do everything they're asked. You may not even know how that person is viewed at the job by the employer. That person may be the biggest slacker in the company. And now you're saying, oh yeah, that's my friend. This is who referred me. I'm like them. They're going to say, all right, well, that person's a slacker, so you're probably a slacker too. Another thing is, you don't want to appear like you are not trying to like bribe or use someone else to get the job, basically. So I would just stay away from that last one. All right, Jay. Now mine doesn't have my own address and stuff like that, but has the company's address. I think that was because this was on an electronic system and I had already put my address in. So it really depends on how you're submitting it. Like if you're mailing it in, obviously you're going to need to put your stuff on there. Name, title, company, address, and the person who you're writing to. So if you don't know the person, I mean, that's one thing. Usually on a job posting, it'll say like the person of contact is Sally Johnson. So you want to put dear Sally Johnson. You don't want to put to whom it may concern, because then when Sally gets it, she might say, I can go to anyone and try to pass it on to someone else. So you want to be specific. You want to send it to the right person. So that's your greeting, and then follow that with the semicolon. All right? So these are just some examples of how it should be set up. The content of each paragraph. What do you want? What do you know about the organization? Your resume. Talk about your skills, your work history. Then again, state confidence in your ability. Like they're not doing you a favor by hiring you. Like you're doing them a favor. They're the ones that have a need. Like they're the ones that need someone to do the work. A lot of times we'll go into it like they're doing us a favor. Like they're not doing you a favor. Like you have to look at it like that. Like they need you. So you just have to show them why you would be a good fit. All right. Definitely want to express appreciation. You know, I appreciate the consideration of you reviewing my resume. Then in closing, the signature and type name at the bottom. All right, so we're going to wrap up with interview skills. And what I want to pass out to you guys now is the most commonly asked job interview questions. All right, so you already know how to answer these questions. You already know like what to expect a lot of times when we go into a resume. Look at the commonly, I'm sorry, let me grab it. All right. Go to the next one, Jay. All right, your first impression is usually your last impression. You come to an interview late, they're gonna say, this person's gonna be late all the time. Like, that's the first impression you've left, is that you're not a punctual person. Your dress, if you come in looking like you came off the street, then that's gonna be a lasting impression. Physical contact, I mean, you obviously you want to limit that to a handshake. You don't want to go in an interview like, all that. You want to stay away from that. Hugs, things of that nature. Eye contact is very important because that's going to suggest that you have confidence in yourself. So definitely want to do that. I mean, all the nonverbal things. You want to smile. No one wants to work with a person who's going to be a jerk. All right, if you come in and you're grumpy, you have a straight face, you're going to send the impression that you're not going to be an easy person to work with. You want to give the impression that you're a pleasant person to be around. All right, so smile. Plus, it'll show that you're excited about the job. Fidgeting, that's going to show that you're nervous if you're fidgeting around and stuff like that. Playing with your hair or, biting your nails. Preparation really is everything for an interview. I could tell you one interview I went on, I did no research on the job at all. Like I was just in a desperate state where I was like, I gotta get a job, And I applied for all these different jobs, and I got a call back from one of them, and like I didn't even really remember applying to it. And then they said, hey, we'll bring you for an interview. So I kind of went in overconfident, and the first question they asked me was, so what do you know about our company? And I'm like, and I had nothing to say. And I tried to say something. Like I tried to, BS my way through it and was unsuccessful. Your presentation, so that's like the way you present yourself, the way you look, the way you talk. Those are all, key things about an interview. And obviously your content, that's the things that you're saying about yourself. That's the bulk of your interview, is your content. How well do you meet the needs of what they are asking for? All right. Is that it? What happened? So again, research the job, review the job requirements. The reason being, if you know the job requirements, you can base your answers off of what they are asking for or what they need, and you'll know how to make that connection based on who you are and what you have. Know where you're going. If you get lost on the way to an interview, that's not going to look good either, because it's going to show that you didn't really put in the time to figure out where it's at. It's not going to be a good excuse if you come in 10 minutes late and say, I got lost. Especially in this day and age where you have things like a GPS that's going to guide you where you're going.
But don't rely on them either.
Yeah, true. Make sure it's updated too. Anticipate questions, so that pertains to this. These are the most commonly asked. And you also can anticipate questions based off the job description. Like you pretty much know what they're asking for in the job, so you can anticipate questions based off what that says. Behavioral-based examples, that's like when they say something like, give us a time where you had to resolve conflict on a job. You're gonna have to give like a behavioral answer. All right, again, sell yourself. Visualize yourself in the interview. You have to be confident enough to know that there's no question that you cannot answer. Unless you were me in that case and you didn't know. You didn't know anything about the job and they asked you that. Make sure you're well suited for the position. Make sure you'll be an asset. You always want to bring copies of your resume because you don't know if they're going to bring copies and they may want to refer to your resume. So it's good to bring that. It's good to bring a paper and pen and take notes. You don't want to spend a lot of your time taking notes because it's going to look like you're not paying attention. But it is good to take some notes and jot down some things. A list of questions. I mean, they're always going to end every interview with, now, do you have any questions for me? The worst answer you can give is, no, I don't have any questions. That's not going to show that you're interested in the job. Breath mints. Certainly don't want to stink up the room. Go.
And another thing to prepare for is for the actual interviewer to throw curveballs, because I was actually going through a mock interview for Deloitte this past summer, and the last question that my interviewer asked me was, what kind of fruit would I be? Her last question, and somehow, some way I answered it, and then she said that was just to see if you can think on your feet, and yeah, they're looking for people that are just efficient, that can actually adjust and be adaptable.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
expect for that.
And that's why I do that activity in my class. For those of you that are in my class, the unnamed game, where you have to just talk for like a minute about a random topic. That's to prepare you for things like that. You're not always gonna have time to think about things. You gotta be able to think quick. All right. You can take your time to organize your thoughts. I mean, you don't have to just start talking as soon as they ask you the question. I mean, take your time. You know, you're not in a rush. I mean, you don't want to take too much time, but you can take time to say, and then go into your answer. Some confidence. I mean, that's always a no-brainer. Your body language. I mean, the nonverbal cues. You don't want to slouch down in your seat. You don't want to put your feet up. You don't want to like do weird stuff that's gonna make you look weird. No gum.
Oh, shoot.
Nah, you're good.
Yeah.
Leave your baggage at the door. You might have just gotten the worst argument ever before you got to this interview. All right. Your dog might have just died. All right. But at the end of the day, their only concern is, are you a good fit for the job? All right, so you gotta tune all that out. You can get back to the interview, probably only be like a half hour. After it's over, then you can get back to being ticked off about your boyfriend or your girlfriend or whatever. Do not slam an organization. What this means is, if they ask you, tell me about your last job. Tell me about your last boss. You don't want to say, it was the worst place I ever worked for. I hated it. They were whatever. That's just going to show, like, it just reveals parts of your character. You never know. Their sibling might be the owner of that company. You never know. So just always be respectful about your previous employers. Jay. Listen carefully to the questions. Rehearse your answers. Again, sell yourself. These are all things that we've covered. Turn your weaknesses into strengths. So an example of this might be the answer I always get every time. Tell me your weakness, and tell me one of your weaknesses. I always say, like, I'm such a perfectionist that, like, I just want to get the job done so bad that, like, if any one thing is wrong, I'm hard on myself. Like, I need to succeed. I need to do well. Like, that is a weakness, but it still sounds good because it's like, it's still showing like a good side of you, that you're a hard-working person. All right? And that success matters to you. All right. Which slide is this, Joe? Or you're not gonna know? So this is the STAR method, basically. So, and this is a lot of times will be in the behavioral-based questions. You're going to give the situation or the task, give the action you took, and then you're going to give the result of the action you took. This will give them a clear perspective of like how you working there will create a certain result. These are just some examples of behavioral-based questions. Well, can you tell me about a time, again, we're going to ask you about like the results of things. Go through that. Sample questions here, again. Tell me about a time you persuaded someone, tell me about a time you solved something, etc. These are just specific skills that are important that you also want to stress in your interviews. Attention to detail, again, computer skills, technical skills. All things that represent your character, your soft skills represents your character. Your initiative, your ability to be a team worker. So these are just common mistakes, coming unprepared, being negative. And then a follow-up, you want to send a thank you letter after your interview. Just send them a thank you letter in the mail. Even an email is good. I just want to thank you for the opportunity of meeting with me today. I'm very enthused about the job. I'll talk to you soon. Something very brief. That's it. So, come to the end. And again, this paper here is just something for you to take away. These are the most commonly asked questions in a job interview. All right. Anyone have any questions? Kevin.
So how do you act when you know you're interviewing? It just it's like pure coincidence. You go in an interview and it just happens you know the person interviewing you.
That's kind of a conflict of interest, really. You may be able to get out of that, actually, because it's a conflict of interest. But if you do have to go through it, you want to act like you don't know that person. You don't want to like be too casual. Hey, what's up, man? You don't want to do all that stuff, even though that may be how you talk to them. You want to just continue to be professional as if you didn't know them. All right. Any other questions?
What's an appropriate length of time to wait to follow up with a job application? Like after you send the resume or apply online, whatever you do?
So before you get the interview, you mean? I would say.
I've heard it's a week or around there.
Yeah, I would say like a week or two at the max. To say, I sent out a resume, just inquiring to see when you guys are planning on starting the interview process or hiring. I would say a week or two is good. Yeah. Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you guys for coming. Thank you for listening. Make sure you fill out the evaluation sheet. And I believe we also have pizza, right? Yeah, we have some food here, so you can stick around.
There's pizza up top. If you're staying for the off-campus housing discussion, we have a lot of information and some of the mentors to help you in the decision-making process around that and answer some of your questions. So if you're staying for that, grab the pizza, have a seat, and if you're not, grab some pizza and get out.
I have something, don't walk away yet. Okay. I made a Relay for Life team again this year. You guys, if you don't know about it, it's a fundraiser for the American Cancer Society. It's super fun. It's not actually a run, but we stay up all night. You can sleep a little bit though if you need to. And we just like walk a track. You do games, karaoke, you can dance and stuff all night, and it's really, really fun. So I have pretty flyers I made, so I'm just gonna like pass them around.